Your time is now to become a champion of your real estate brand. Are you ready?
Welcome to the stage, it's your moment to shine. Level up your game, success is on the line. Okay, your time is now to become a champion of your real estate brand. Are you ready? Let's go! The Champions Podcast starts now!
Welcome back to another episode of the best, greatest real estate podcast on earth, might I say. Possibly the universe. Time to get real, be authentic, and just get down to the nitty-gritty of what it's like living and breathing real estate and trying to make a living off of it, help others on the way, and just grow. That's the idea with the podcast here. So I'm Ian Main out here in Spain, here with Jason out in Indiana. How's it going, Jason?
What's up, buddy? I am doing good, man. I love it. And I do. I think podcast is the biggest in the universe. I think it is.
Yeah, just because few people watch it doesn't mean it's not the greatest thing ever. God, that's like when, I don't know,
Yeah.
Harley Davidson started. It was the same. No one knew about it. Now they've got like people with massive tattoos of Harley Davidson on their back and all the rest of it. Yeah, I mean, they'll do the same thing with us in the future. We just need to keep going. That's all.
Yep. I can't wait. I'm gonna put a couple pictures up that of tattoos people are gonna get with them on with you on their face on their back.
For those of you
Can't
that
wait.
don't know, Jason is a fan of taking my face and putting it on t-shirts and then going to EXP's largest annual event wearing those t-shirts. So, little inside joke for you there. But yeah, today's episode, I wanted to touch on really just the day-to-day of a real estate salesperson. And Jason has iconed before here at EXP, which if you don't know what that is, it's your basically the highest what would you say, like award you can or status you can reach here at EXP. You get a bunch of stock in the company. Basically means that you sell a bunch of homes. So, as we recently spoke about, I believe it was on a recent episode, we spoke about the shockingly low number or percentage of no, sorry, the shockingly high percentage of agents that didn't sell one home like in the whole year of what was it, like 2024, 2025, I can't remember.
25, yeah.
25. I thought, why not just talk about you, Jason, and how you sell so many homes to become an icon agent here at EXP, and maybe we could just help some others out, help some mere mortals like me and the rest of the people to try to sell more homes and just do a great job with our clients. But yeah, I think you've got a pretty good rhythm, right, of consistency when it comes to sales. Yeah, maybe it's up and down as it always is, but it's not. I think for you, it's not one of those things where you don't know when your next sale's coming through kind of thing, and you're worried if there is going to be a next sale kind of thing, which I think a lot of agents are at that stage. So how do you get into that rhythm and find that consistency? Was there a point in your career where you did struggle to begin with and then it picked up? Like what changed? Or has it just always been like that because of how you are?
No, I think definitely being trained the right way was essential. I started real estate with Keller Williams, and
Mhm.
when I went into the office, I was just kind of doing my own thing. I was a solo agent. I wasn't on a team. I was just, trying to find my way, and I didn't really know what to do exactly. My good buddy Jason Miller invited me to join an independent team that he was on, but it was the abundance factor of, hey, we could help you sell 10, 15, 20 homes. And I'm like, well, I've got zero now. Even if I'm at
Yeah.
100% and selling zero homes, zero of 100% is still zero, right?
Yeah.
So if I gave up 50 on 20 deals, that's a heck of a lot better numbers, right?
Right.
So that was really, I think, the first piece, and it goes back to something I always say, and maybe this is one of the reasons why I always say this. It's putting the right people around you. And I didn't really know it at that time, and I'm grateful for my good buddy Miller. And and being able to be part of that team was huge because it taught me the way I think real estate should be if you want to be successful in this. It taught me the pace. It taught me
Hmm.
a never give up attitude. It taught me be okay with no. It taught me don't get hung up on the result, just do the best work you can. And, if it mutual releases, it mutual releases. It taught me a lot. So I think really, and I'm just really thinking early stages as a agent was
Yeah,
that team format. Um, you don't have to be on that team forever. And especially with a model like an EXP where we help each other grow bigger and better.
yeah,
I look back to the brokerage that I started with, and if I were on a team and I left that team, I probably would have had to leave it's just kind of that old
right.
fashioned style mindset to say, well, you're
Yeah,
off, you're out. That's not it with EXP. And that's where I dig it because it doesn't have to be an end all be all, but as a newer non-producing agent, I think many people could take that and do it, run it for 2 years, because the first year you're really just figuring it out. You're getting your graces, you're learning, and then you're like, all right, cool, I closed 5 deals, 10 deals, 50 deals, whatever. Great, now I know what to do. Now year two comes and it's like, all right, repeat it and then enhance it. And so now you got a better grasp. So I think that was a big learning moment, was really that team aspect to help dictate how it should be, get you scripts, get my head wrapped around what real estate truly is of, being in sales, but still running a business.
that's a big mindset change, I think, there. Real estate sales and running a business, because honestly, I think they're two completely separate things. Selling real estate doesn't necessarily mean you own a business, but if you do own the real estate business, you have to have sold real estate to go. So you can, it's kind of like phases you go through as you grow. But I think if anybody is struggling, then why would they not join a team to begin with, right? Because it was like you said, I'd rather 50% of anything run, carry on with 100% of nothing. So, I
Yep.
mean, I think people get too hung up sometimes on the money aspect of it. And they say, oh, why would I do that if I have to give up more of my commission? And it's like, well, wouldn't you like some commission? That's the whole point of getting into the business in the first place. And I remember specifically I had an experience with it. I think I maybe told this, I can't remember if I told you in private or if it was in another episode, but I went to see a property with another agent. She was showing me one of her listings and she was like, it's overpriced. I'm like, well, lower the price. Like, let's get it sold and just lower the price. And she was like, oh, but that would lower my commission. I was like, well, I don't understand what do you want me to say here? I don't, what are you doing here? And if you're a new agent, you just cannot have that mindset. If you speak to any agent that's been in the business for over, let's just say for over 8 years or 7 years, they've got experience, they've been through ups and downs, shifts in the market. I don't think any of them would ever have an answer like that to that kind of question. They would never have that kind of mindset where it's so focused around money that they sabotage their own business because they've been through so much to get to that point, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, whatever it is. They understand that it's a people business and it's helping others. So yeah, take the cut, join a team because once you join a team, just like you said, you'll then surround yourself with other people and it's going to show you what kind of pace you should be working at to get to where they are. Joining a team, I think, is a great way to get started. Probably something that I was missing when I first started, and it took me like 4 years to catch up to. Yeah, I wish that I had that when I first started because I didn't. Um, I think partly because one, I had no idea what I was doing, and two, the brokerage I was at I didn't know it was I didn't know it was a thing. Like I didn't know that I could join a team, and I didn't know there was teams and whatever else. The brokerage never really, I don't know, they didn't promote that kind of thing to help
Sure.
other agents. So I don't know. For
Well,
me,
it was competition when you were there. You walk in those doors and you're competition to the person who's in the office to your left.
it was yes, definitely. I definitely got
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It really was.
Let me
Mhm.
let me go back to, so, even with your example to that agent that said, well, if I reduce the price, I'll reduce. That's
Yeah,
a very scarce mindset, scarcity, right? And that's a lot you see with non-producing or newer agents. It's scarcity. And it even ties back into why not make that jump. I think it's also a full-time commitment to say, hey, I'm jumping into this and I'm not making any money right now. And that's a big jump. That's scary.
yeah.
Because I know a lot of agents are like, oh, I'm gonna work this job part time, and then I'll do real estate. Well, if you're gonna do both jobs part time, you need to work twice a, twice as hard on both jobs in order just to make ends meet for what would be one job. You know what I'm saying? Like especially that first year,
Yep.
you really have to push hard. And it's no easy task. And I think that's why a lot of people fail, or even to that stat that you mentioned at the beginning, 75% of all realtors in the United States sold zero homes in 2025. That's ridiculous. So that's it. It's like what's going on? So, that's when, you and I talk a lot about how we could help those agents. And I think that team aspect would be huge. And it's really making that jump and that commitment to say, hey, I'm going to go all in. And when you
Yeah.
say that, your back's against the wall. And
Hmm.
it's either uh what's the saying? Flourish or I don't know, I'm not saying the right thing. Um, it's either succeed or not. I'll change it
Right.
up that way because your back's against the wall. And yeah, are you gonna sit and fail and be mopey about it, or are you gonna push yourself and say, "Gosh, I need to go make some money"? So we all need the money. When I talk to
Yeah.
people, it's like, "Hey, I don't do this for the money." Yeah, I don't either. I do it to take care of my
Yeah.
family. But you know what? You know what runs that? Money, right?
Exactly.
We need money to live. We got to pay rent. We got to pay mortgage. We got to pay our bills. We got to pay our notes. Whatever. So we have to make money in order to pay our stuff and live. So what's going to push you? And I'll tell you this. So when I joined the team, I remember because I was right in that mindset. I was like, I'll go wait tables a little bit, make some money, and then I'll just do real estate and branch off of there. The team said it's 100% commitment. You need to come on or you're not on the team. And
Okay.
there was no negotiations. There was, if you want on the team, this is it. Yes or no. So which I look back and I was nervous as all heck, but
Yeah.
it goes to the saying as well. If you're comfortable, you're not.
Hmm.
It's when you're nervous and you don't know what's next. You're learning, you're growing, you're developing. So you do want to have those nerves inside. You do want to feel a little anxious and then follow your heart, follow your gut. And when you do that, you're going to make the right decision. You're going to be nervous about what it's going to take. You just have to
Hmm.
really hone in on those feelings and say, man, I need to jump in on this, especially if you want to be the next top producer, the next icon. That's
Yeah.
what you need to do, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And it
that's
needs a
my advice
huge,
for sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely a huge shift. And I think that jumping on a team is definitely the first way to, because it's not just seeing others how they do it. It's also learning like the systems. And in fact, let's get into that a little bit. So that was, how long ago was that you go start?
That was back in 2018. Well, I started in 2015, but then I got
Right.
onto the team. I got onto the team in 2017-ish, somewhere around there, maybe a little
Okay.
earlier, 2016 maybe.
Right.
That's a blur.
So it's like almost 10 years, like 10 years-ish kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, I've been in the business 10 years.
So That's that's great, actually. Congratulations, because I think most agents quit by like year two or three. So that's an accomplishment right there. So now obviously things are a little bit different. You're here at EXP, independent agent. You work your own brand. You work your own clients. Talk us through like how do you do all of the work with those clients to keep that rhythm of sales consistency? What kind of system are you using? Like, how do you keep in touch with everyone? How sales come from?
One of the best systems you have to have is a CRM. I think, utilizing that database to put people in, especially if you're going to go very fast. You've got to keep track because
Yeah,
everyone's going to start being on different times. And you'll be like, oh, I got this. And you're talking about five people. Well, what happens when it gets to 500 people that you're trying to deal with, or 5,000 people that you've
exactly.
got in a database? Everyone's going to be on different times and you're not going to be able to keep track of it. So there's got to be that system because that way you could set up email, text campaigns, to-dos for yourself. You could tie it into your Google Calendar. They're all, is the word inundated maybe? There are all integrated, I should say. And you can do that stuff.
Right.
And so that's essential. I think that's number. And then I'm a big advocate for, not one. process work in real estate. You can't say, "Oh, I'm gonna do open houses and that's all I'm gonna do and become a top producer." No, prove me wrong. Go for it. Go crush
Mm,
it. Definitely prove me wrong. But I think, hey, if you're going to do open houses, talk to your sphere of influence, talk to your neighborhood. Um, do you want to do social media? Are you looking at videos? What's that look like? Do you just want to make calls to online leads? What do you want to work? Do you want to work with first-time home buyers? Do you
mm,
want to work with luxury agents? Do you want to work REO, foreclosures? Banks foreclose on homes. What do you want to find? I find some people that want to do like farm and ranch, as well. Maybe it's a commercial aspect.
yeah,
There's so many different avenues. And again, it goes back to that first year of real estate to really and
mhm,
it's almost like freshman year in college. Or you could even look at freshman year in high school. You don't really know what to do. You're in this big facility, whether it's college or high school, and you're just like, man, I don't know what to do. But by year two, you're a sophomore, and you're like, all right, I know my way around here. I know what to do. I know what to expect. I'm still not the top guy, but I'm getting up there. Third year, you're like, there's two younger classes behind me. Now I'm cool. And then that fourth
yeah,
year, hey, I'm the top dog, right? So it's kind of
right,
like that mindset, in real estate that, hey, look at yourself in those 4 years, become that senior, if I could use that analogy. And
mhm,
because when you're hitting those milestones year after year, when you're in your senior level in real estate in 4 years, you're going to be crushing it and you're going to start beating what is out there, and it says realtors don't last more than 5 years.
right.
So
Is that what it is?
you're
Mm,
you're at year 4 as your senior level. You know what you're doing, so chances are you are going to beat that stat, and that's a win. So kind of diverted from the systems talk, but yeah, I think the CRMs,
def-
I think, knowing where you want to go and how you want to take it is going to be the next piece, because systems are going to tie into what you need next. So
yeah,
that's again, do you have the right people around you that are going to call you and talk to you and do a video call or meet you in person and business plan with you? What do you need? All right, good. What is your focus? Great. Let's put that down on paper and then hold you accountable and also check in with you. So it's all that stuff, I think, to really go without diving too deep into systems, because
yeah.
it can go so many different directions.
I think, in all fairness, the CRM is probably the biggest um, and greatest system that any real estate agent or salesperson in general, to be fair,
Yeah.
will need and use. And they say that the best one is the one that you use. So whether it's a spreadsheet or a KV Core or whatever other CRMs are out there,
Yep.
the best one is the one that you're actually going to use and use well. And there's so many different books on it on what you can. I'm just finishing up the Millionaire Real Estate Agent for the second time. I always, when I find a really good book, I read it twice. So I'll read it like in detail the first time, and then as soon as I finish it, I'll start it again, and then just kind of like go through it a little bit faster because I already know what's in there, but just to kind of refresh everything. So I'm
Nice.
just finishing the second for the second time, and it gives you like the step by step what to do, how many touch points with clients through your CRM, how to do it. It's such a great step by step book. So if you're not doing it, it's definitely something you should be doing because imagine if you're going through those 4 years of real estate like in high school, and you weren't using your CRM or even keeping track of your database or whatever it is, in those 4 years, you could have had so many contacts that, by the way, 4 years might be the amount of time that it takes for someone to buy a property and then think of selling again, depending on the market, maybe, or depending on why they got in the
Right.
first
Well,
place or whatever.
that's exactly it. That starts that cycle then.
Exactly.
Yes. 100%.
Exactly. It's the CRM is definitely, I think, where leads go to die. It's where they go to die, and it's where they get revived if used by the correct kind of agent.
Yeah.
So that is a huge one. And your I don't know, like your last, if you know off the top of your head, like your last, I don't know, 10 sales, where are they coming from? Or like most of yours through referral at this point? Are you cold outreach, FISBOs, is it foreclosures? What kind of work are you doing?
Yeah. Great question. So, I think from what I recall from the last year, Referrals were a big source.
Yeah.
We've got 85,000, 90,000 agents within the brokerage that I could work referrals with. And that's been something that's been on my agenda since probably 2018, and meeting new agents and just building a good rapport with them and them just liking me. So that was
Yeah.
huge. And then it starts paying off, and that's where it's gotten to. So referrals would probably be number one, sphere of influence, number two. And those are people that know me, like me, and already trust me. So I just have
Yeah.
to time it right that they're ready to look for selling or buying, or maybe they know somebody. So that's a big one as well. Um, my third would probably be expireds. So I do a
Right.
lot of calling, so I call expireds and go after listings that way, and try to have a good conversation and find sellers who are looking for me, and that's all I want. And so it's just it's
Yeah.
it's a huge numbers game. When you're making any
Yeah.
style of call, it just becomes a numbers game. And so you gotta be okay with no, you gotta be okay with the rejection, all that stuff, and just look for that's it. And
Yeah.
if
That's
you call
yeah.
if you're calling 30 people and you're not getting results, well, maybe call 60. If you're not getting results with that, call 120. Are you getting results yet? Nope. Call 240. Like you've gotta figure that out. And I actually just talked to a couple agents that are,
Hmm.
and I told them about tracking because I think that's part of the system as well of how important that tracker is, because now you'll be able to know if I make 100 calls and I get three appointments out of those 100 calls. Well, let me reverse. 100 calls, I get 10 contacts. Those 10 contacts give me three appointments. Those three appointments gave me one purchase agreement signed.
Hmm.
Cool. Now I have an algorithm, right? Now
Right.
I know I need to make 100 calls or 10 contacts. It's better to look at how many contacts versus calls, because sometimes it could take you 200 calls and you get 10 contacts, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
really focus on that contact and say, all right, I need 10 contacts. What's it going to take for me to get 10 contacts to talk about real estate? Then out of those 10, I should get three appointments. And then out of
Hmm.
that, I get an offer. So that's what you want to work. So again, whether you're not producing, whether you're new, wherever you are, if you don't have anything, find that algorithm, and you've got to start working it now. Let it become a numbers game, because that's what real estate is. And you will be able
Hmm.
to measure yourself backwards, track your progress, and you could look back on the week, you could look back on the month, you could look back on the year, and know where you stand. And that way, we all can help you grow in that way you want to grow. And that's what's worked for me, man.
Yeah, it's almost like a cheat code. If you track your numbers like that, so that you know that 10 contacts turns into an agreement signed, then you can set goals and you can work backwards, reverse engineer the whole thing to know exactly how many contacts you need to make to get so many appointments, to get so many conversions and sales and all the rest of it.
Yep.
Um,
100%.
all it takes is for you to put in the work. It's like a cheat code giving you the numbers. Oh man, I gotta make 500 calls to get like 20 contacts, which then turns into this and this. So the secret is knowing the number and actually working towards it.
Yep.
There's nothing fancy about it or nothing pretty about selling in real estate. It's just that. So if you
Yep.
can track your numbers and get to know your algorithm, know your numbers, then let's just do the work and that's it. And then you know what
Yep.
you need to do. If you want to sell 20 homes this year rather than eight, then you know how you've got the numbers, you know what to do. Just
Yep.
work towards it.
It is. And
I think,
a couple things on that. If you want to sell 20 homes or whatever your number is, 5,
yeah.
10, 20, 50, 500. Our founder, Glenn Sanford said, "What's your goal?" Let's call it 20. Great.
Mhm.
Add a zero to that. 100. Right. The outrageous of a number, right? But that's chances are you're not going to do 200, but it's the mindset of what if I worked like I was going after 200.
What
You're
does
going
it
to
take? Yeah.
crush 20. You're going to crush it, right? So again, it's mindset overall to say, hey, I'm going to focus on doing 200. And when I crush 20, great.
Right.
I also, we do a lot of the goal stretch dream. So, even if it's 20, what would be your dream? Is it 25? Is it 30? Is it 50? All right, cool. Now you have a bigger dream saying, hey, I'll do 30. Maybe a stretch goal in the middle is 25, and your goal is 20. So now, again, not only are you going to focus on 30, you add a zero, now you're 300. So I'm going to work as hard as 300, a sale a day pretty much. Cool. What's that look like? What's that feel like? You come in with your day with intention. You know what you're doing. You're
Yep.
sitting down. You're knocking out the work. You're doing it. You're wrapping up your day, and you're being able to keep moving. And you got to have that mindset, and it's almost like getting into a gym and working out. You've got to go in with the right mindset to get the right results. And I think that's going to
Yeah.
be the biggest takeaway for
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. I think, and just like the gym, it takes time as well, right? It's something you have to build on, and it takes weeks and months and multiple months and years, and then that's when people are in peak form. It's after so many years, especially real estate. It's so tough sometimes. It filters out the weak. In all honesty, in the beginning, I think that's what it does, and the strongest do survive, and that's how it works. Know your numbers, work on your numbers, adding zero to that goal. That's great. Oh no, you don't hit 20. I only hit 50 rather than 200. Like, yeah. And yeah, I think we can probably wrap it up there. If there any, so if I was an agent, let's say that I was selling not a huge amount of homes. Like I'm not a crazy producer. Let's just say I'm selling like, I don't know. I think the average is like four homes a year. So let's just say I was selling like 10 and I wanted to double that. And I'm listening to you talk right now. What's one last piece of advice you could give that person to implement today to move towards doubling their goal, their current production?
Double down on yourself. I mean, if you're doing 10, it depends, on where are you in your real estate business. So a lot of questions just start rising up in my head because I want to know more information first off. But
Yeah.
for this little practice, um, double down on it. Again, if you're making calls and you're doing 100 and you were able to sell 10 last year, 100 calls a week, I'm saying, and you sold 10 homes over the last year, cool. What does it look like to call 200 a week? What does it look like to call 300 a week? So something like that. If you're doing videos, all right, can you do one more, two more, three more? What does that look
Mm,
like? If you're talking to your sphere, can you get further out in your sphere? Whether you're asking your cousin, your brother, your mom, your dad, who do you know in your neighborhood that's looking to buy or sell? Can you be an advocate for them? Also, you could call around those areas. I'm a big phone guy. I think with phone, you could cover a lot of area quicker than any other way. Quicker than driving, quicker than anything, because you're here. Hey, cool. Okay, bye. Hey, cool. Okay, bye.
yeah.
And it's constant. So you could cover a large basis. So that's where I always tell people don't shoot down the idea of calls. Just know what style of calls. Whether if it's sphere of influence, they already know you. I understand online leads are more cold calls and people don't like that. I get that.
Yeah.
But don't associate just cold calls with all calls. That's a different style of call. Your sphere of influence is a call. If you're calling around your neighborhood, hey guys, we're gonna have a pool party. I'm buying 10 pizzas. Come on out from 12 to 2. Love to meet you guys. Whatever. Stuff like that. That's great. 10 pizzas. Cost you $100, $200, whatever. You get one sale from it. It pays for it tenfold, right? So think outside the box, and really just make it happen. But yeah, I would just say double down on your business, and maybe add one or two something different. Maybe like that community outreach, where hey,
Yeah.
I'm buying pizzas for the pool. I'm doing this. Just that stuff shows a lot that hey, you're uber present not only in that city but in that community or subdivision, and then people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, cool." And make sure you have something to give them to take home with them, and um, that's always a interesting piece. Just have them remember you. And I'm not just talking about a
Yeah.
business card because they'll probably throw it away. Something that they may use,
Probably.
um, or that they could see your face every day. I just printed up some magnets with a schedule of some baseball teams, so it goes on the
Nice.
fridge. So take that. And I'm on the fridge. Hopefully, all 12 months, we'll see. Whatever. If not, it's the baseball season. So
Right.
think outside the box and invest in yourself. I would say that because the money will come, but you got to invest in yourself. Be okay. I'm a huge advocate for that, and make it
Yeah.
happen. So That's me in a nutshell.
That's it. That's it. Hey, if the best agents around are doing it, then why wouldn't you? Don't think that you can do things differently and become better than them. Just honestly, it's been done before, so just copy and paste, make it your own. But yeah, you heard it here first. Champions Podcast. We're great agents do great things for great people. So we'll see you in the next one.
Your time is now to become a champion of your real estate brand. Are you ready?
Welcome to the stage. It's your moment to shine. Level up your game. Success is on the line. Okay. Your time is now to become a champion of your real estate brand. Are you ready?